If I hit F12 right now, or right click and hit inspect, the developer tools will open up. Okay, now this looks a little bit messy right now, and that's fine. But you can see there's a bunch of different tabs right here. And for the purposes of this class, I am going to be focusing on these three tabs. Okay, these other tabs all hold their place and do important things, but for this class, we're only going to really look at these three. Okay, so this website has a lot of stuff on the page. You can see that as I kind of like hover down, um, it will highlight which aspect of the page I'm highlighting. Okay, so if I hover over this div, I can click on this and open it up, and then I can keep on hovering down and see what exactly is in this div. Okay, and so you can see right here I have a div that shows the search topics and another div that shows everything else. If I open up this one, you can see I can just kind of like keep on drilling into this, you know, and isolate more and more specific parts of this page. Okay, and so once I find the element that I'm looking for, I can see on here, you know, all of this data about this item, you know, and so this is the way the browser is rendering the code that was written, uh, regardless of how this code was compiled or how this data came to be. This is how the browser reads the code. Okay, so you can do this. You can look at any website. You know, you can see how they have the styles over here, and you can actually even edit these things. You can add new elements over here. I could say, you know what, instead of margin being 0, I want it to be like 500. Um, I guess I'd have to say margin and then 500 pixels or something like that. And then you can see my page is gone because I made a massive margin. Okay, you know, so you can play around with different things. Uh, but let's go to a more simple example. Right here I have an assignment from the end of chapter 5. So if I copy this file path and I paste it in here, there we go. A little bit more simple. Let me just refresh that page to undo my mess. Okay, so calculate volume inside of a tire. Fun stuff. So I hit F12 and I can open this up nice and big. All right. Now, if I click on elements, you can see this is it. Okay. I have a head with those things in it. If I open this up, I have this massive comment to show what the assignment is. I have this function, then I have my body, and I can hover over these things, and again, it'll highlight each one of them, and so forth. And if I look back over here, it's literally the exact same thing. I'm not dynamically computing anything, but this is exactly what is being compiled by the browser. Okay, so with that said, in here, if I wanted to change the width or anything, I could say, you know what, I actually want the width to be 100%, and I don't want there to be a margin, and I want it to not be centered. You know, then I could uncheck that and everything would be left aligned, and so I can kind of mess around with how it's going to look. In addition to that, I can hover over where the content is, where the actual content is of the HTML and what padding is there. There's no padding on this. Where the border is and what the margin is. You can see I just have a little bit of margin on top and bottom. If I did come in here and say, let's put that back, and if I say padding is 200 pixels, okay, so we still have the width being 100%, but I just added a bunch of padding, and now if I hover over padding, you can see where it put that padding, okay? And so you could be like, wow, that's way too much padding, that's why it looks funny, and so forth. And then you could change it, and then, of course, remember to change it in your actual file. Okay, so you can kind of play around with stuff like that. Another thing is I can actually come in here and hit delete and delete an element, okay? Which is actually kind of nice. If you have an annoying ad on a page, you can just hit F12, hover over it in here, and just be like, oh, I'm going to delete that, you know? I just refreshed the page, okay? So a couple of different things that you can do with the Elements tab, okay? And this can be really helpful, especially when you start getting into larger pages. Again, when things aren't looking quite how you would want them to look, and again, you can kind of drill down into each branch of the tree here. So, all right, so I hope that this has been helpful for you. In the next videos, I'll go over the console and sources tab. Thanks for watching.